In honor of Memorial Day this month, we wanted to highlight a local military veteran, Attorney George Sink. He'll share his military past while in Vietnam.
There must be some kind of way out of here, said a joker to the thief. There's too much confusion, I can't get no relief. Businessman there, drink my wine. Plowman, dig my earth.
You served
About 67 to 70.
67 to 70.
Uh-huh.
And were you drafted or were you?
No, I was a school teacher in downtown Detroit, and
Wow.
I just saw the Marines landing in Da Nang, and I was teaching 7th and 8th graders down there, and I had a draft exempt job, but it just made me cry, and my kids were really nice. They said, what's, Mr. Sink, are you all right? And I said, yeah, but right then I knew I had to go. And so I quit my job. I went down and I said, I quit, and he said, oh, you've been drafted, don't worry, we'll take care of it. I said, no, I'm quitting, I'm gonna go. So I did go, and it was great, it was a great experience. Just the idea of those guys being there, and I wasn't doing anything, kind of made me cry. You know, I just wanted to go.
So you had a complete career and life change.
Yes, totally quit. And around Christmas, halfway through the year, I said, I just gotta go, now's the time. So I'm going.
My goodness, and as I mentioned, the Pearl caters to families, to mothers and women in particular. What was that like for your family when you told
terrible.
them?
It was terrible. It's so much easier, I've said this over and over, it's so much easier for the person that goes than it is for those behind. My mother and my dad suffered a lot. And every time I'd write home and say something was wrong, my dad would go to the congressman or the senator and try to straighten it out for all the guys, you know, like, let's get this right. So it was very hard for them. I know, extremely hard. So when I told my dad, matter of fact, I said, Dad, I joined the Marines, he chased me, tried to catch me, somehow catch me and make me change my mind, but that didn't happen.
Oh my gosh.
So, no, it was very hard for them. And so it's easier for a person to do it than it is to be at home suffering, wondering what's going on. See, I'm there seeing, knowing, so I'm more relaxed about it.
And speaking of seeing and knowing, what was that experience like for you when you got there?
It was tremendous. It was just a different world, unknown things, once in a lifetime sort of difficulties, and we got through it, luckily. So,
do you have any specific memories, or do you ever think back on some specific things?
I do.
There?
I do. The one thing that jumps out at me is the men, the troops. They're really, really, really good people. They're, you know, like everybody's sons and daughters. They're family. They're people. And everybody forgets about them. They track the war and the progress. All I think about is the people.
And what was your role there while you were?
I was an infantry officer, or in a supply battalion. I was a supply officer in an infantry battalion. And so I would be out there talking to the guys, making sure they had the right boots on and making sure they had this and that so they could be fully equipped for whatever problems occurred. We exchanged rifles once at Quezon, as a place out there, because they were jamming. So we'd do various things that make sure that everybody was good. You know, I'd be out there and I'd be back, making sure everything was going. So making sure everybody had what they needed. That was my job.
You know, it's interesting that you say that, and especially during your best, because I was just doing a little research online. I think it was between 85 to 90% of the troops say that they, being polled, that they would do it all over again if they had to.
Absolutely. If your sister was in trouble, your mother's in trouble, you just do, you help them. Right or wrong, good or bad, you're there for them. So sure you do it again.
When you see other veterans, how do they respond to you, especially knowing that you served there in Vietnam?
I think it's just, I admire them. I mean, they went through a different thing in a different way, but for the same reason. And the admiration's there, you know, that someone would take their time and they're part of their life and take a risk for something that's bigger than themselves is pretty impressive and important. So they're number one in my book. They're absolutely heroes. You know, automatically.
We see the commercials where you'll have our troops that are coming back home, or we'll be in the airport and we'll see the troops coming back home and people will stand up and give them a round of applause or shake their hands. Have you experienced any of that when they find out that you've served, or even when you were coming back? What was that support
I
like
have,
in
and I
response?
put myself in their heads to think that they would take their time out of their day to say thank you to someone. I mean, it makes me cry. I mean, right now it just kind of tears me up a little bit. I mean, what kind of people are those? Those are really nice people that would take their time to say thank you for the efforts these young men are making, you know, and women now, are making to support our country. I think that's fantastic. And if someone said thank you, and it's happened to me, I thank them so much. I mean, what a thoughtful person. I'm glad to be in the same country with them.
And as we are approaching Memorial Day, what goes through your mind? What are some thoughts that you think about?
I'm so grateful to be an American. I know that's so corny, but you know, just imagine yourself in some other country.
Yeah.
I mean, this is a great country. Whatever dues we have to pay, taxes, service, it's cheap. We're lucky to be in the best country in the world, best country that's ever existed. I'm proud to be an American. To remember the people who gave their lives. We're here talking. I'm alive. Other people have paid the high price for the ability for us to talk today. So what goes through my mind is we owe them.
And if that wasn't enough of a history lesson for you, then you don't want to miss what we have in store for you right after this break.